MK, and I am here with another Mixed Media Mayhem recipe for you guys today. And today I am using ink blending, some splatters, and flowers. Now, I definitely was not expecting this through my Kit Conspiracy layout, but that is the challenge of mixed media, is to just be able to do what you need to do. So I'm showing you guys the ink that I picked out, which is Distress Oxide inks in Chipped Sapphire, Twisted Citron, and Pine Needles. I also showed you guys my little blending tools that I will be using. And then the splatters are these ink splatters that actually they're paint splatters that I got from the dollar store that I haven't been able to find yet. So I apologize about using product that is not available anymore unless you picked one up. Now, I also went through my Elena collection because I knew there was tons of flowers left over from there. And then from the Farmhouse Garden collection, I found a couple flowers in the Faux Brad pack. I have this green piece of paper from the Lakeside collection, and truth be told, I don't think I pulled anything from the No Limits collection. I just couldn't find anything that honestly worked except for a teeny tiny little sticker that says "Love this." That's it, and I don't even know if it's going to make it on the layout. Okay, so I have 7 photos for you guys today, so I plan on doing a 2-page layout. I print all of my photos, all of them, in 4x6. The reason why I do this is because I want the photo to be large, and then if I choose to cut it down to a 2x2 or a 3x3, 4x3, you guys get the idea, then at least the image is going to be large. Okay, so first things first, my Chipped Sapphire is well loved, well used, and very dry. So this is going to take me forever, and I only make you watch me do one of these sheets, but I do end up doing 2 because I wasn't thinking. I have been discombobulated for about a week now. And it's all emotional and personal, and the holiday season, everything, you guys. The stress is real, not going to lie there. We've been going through a ton of snow, a ton of weather, school being closed. So I'm trying to, work with the kids being home unexpectedly and try to hide their Christmas presents. That's impossible with teenagers in the house. So I wasn't thinking when I created this layout. It ended up being just to the point where I thought that I was going to use these 2 pages as the background and not how much I was actually going to be covering up using photos and such. So I do end up cutting these papers down so that way I can use the other papers that aren't being covered with photos somewhere else, because I really do love this combination. Of course, it's, green and blue. My favorite. So my Pine Needles is very saturated, and you can tell that I do get a better blend than when I use the Chipped Sapphire. So when you blend, it is best to overlap slightly, and I mean slightly being like 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, no more, and then constantly keep going back and forth between the 2 colors over that line so you get a really good blend. And then once the oxides are fully dry, which is kind of interesting because they don't dry right away, and that's why I'm using the lid to hold my paper down so I don't have my hand print in the wet ink. But once it's dry, that blend is just seamless and smooth and beautiful. Okay, so now I'm using this Twisted Citron, which is a little on the bright side, but I am picking up all of that ink that is not dry on my glass mat. So I do have to take a moment and, clean off my glass mat so that way I don't get dirt, a dirty blend at the bottom of my page when I go off of the page to, make sure the color is edge to edge. And then, of course, I'm going to go back through with Pine Needles and Twisted Citron and make that blend a little bit more smoother. And I love the way this looks. Okay, so I want to make it look like this green pattern paper from the Lakeside collection is all the way across my page. So it's fully behind all 5 of my center photos. Yeah, I have to think about this for a minute because I don't know if I have enough. I don't know if I just, I ripped it in half and then, oh, did I rip too much? Who knows? But in the end, I do end up getting it to work, and I think it's not quite seamless, but it works, right? It's a scrapbook. It's not a professional painting, so I don't expect it to be, in some art museum later. So here's where I decided I don't want to cover up all that stuff, all that hard work, to be honest. So I'm going to pull out my trimmer. Now, you guys, it's Christmas. My desk is a mess. What you guys see in the camera as being crystal clear and cleaned off, that's it. Truth be told, that is the only clean spot in my craft room right now. I have Christmas presents because I love handmade Christmas presents, you guys. It brings me so much joy to create something and then watch the face of the receiver, and how much they like it or dislike it. I'm okay with that too. Everybody is entitled to that. But it is my favorite thing to watch. So, first thing I do is I glue the one side because I know that those photos and everything, but then on the left side, I completely forgot that I'm only doing like 4 inches, maybe less. So I glued my 6-inch piece and oh, look, that's not going to work. So I'm going to pull out the other piece and cut it down to 8 inches, just making sure that 8 inches is going to be enough, even though I do have that 1-inch green strip to be able to cover it. If it's not, I just wanted to make sure it was enough before cutting into my second page because I didn't really feel like piecing a bunch of papers together. So I went ahead and glued that down. Now I am going to try and figure out how to get, the green piece to look like it goes behind my photos because I trimmed them down smaller than 6 inches, which was bad on my part. I should not have done that. But in order for me to use the craft cardstock paper that I had, it's actually tonic paper in my craft kit that I get from Tonic Studio. That's where this pastel green paper came from. In order for me to get 4 photos per cardstock, which I had 7 photos, you guys, so I had to get this to work perfectly. The math had to be right there in order for this to work. And so to get that to work, I had to trim all of my photos down to a bare minimum of 5.5 inches because the piece of cardstock I was using was only 8.5 by 11. So I did have to do a little bit of math and a little bit of, oh my gosh, do I have 8 photos? I thought I had 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I had 8. I can't count. Go me. So anyways, but yes, that's why they're not at 6 inches. And so I definitely had to go and get this green piece of paper, had to be, meshed together to get it to work because my photos could not be 6 inches or I would not have had enough cardstock to make it work. So moving on, now that problem has been solved, I am going to add flowers. Now, this is definitely not how I envisioned this layout when I first set it up. I picked these photos because of the fact that in the photos, all I see is black, white, and brown. All I see are neutrals. They are the perfect photo for any color combination I could have chosen for this layout, any single one. So when I go through all of my monthly assignments and try to figure out what I'm going to do for my YouTube videos, I keep in mind what my assignments are. And being mixed media, black and white photos are the best because then you can use whatever color you choose to have fun and play and not have to worry about, oh my gosh, my photos are horrible and now I have to switch them out. So that's where I chose these photos. They're in color and it's fine because all I see are neutral colors, but now I can choose whatever combination I want to, and I feel like I'm repeating myself, I apologize, within my kit conspiracy kit because I have a kind of a color scheme. Like I have the blues, the greens, and the reds and the peaches throughout all 4 of my collections, which I think is really, really cool. And that's what makes it work. And I have to say, you guys, Janet and I did not plan that at all. We just picked collections that we had in our stashes at the moment when we decided to do Kit Conspiracy. So that's just how it turned out. And voila, they're all matchy, which is super cool when you go to combine them all together. So anyways, again, black and white photos or very neutral photos, even being in color, allow you to bring in all this color. I mean, I could have done this in any color combination I wanted should I not have been working with specific kits and needing to make a specific color combination work. I could have chose anything for these camera photos because of the fact that, they are neutral except for my daughter's, purpley blue coat, which is beautiful for chipped sapphire, by the way. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and I cut up that large, it's not vellum, the large rub-on, so that way it could go around my one single photo that I have over on the right page. And then I'm going to bring in a die cut, which I felt like was a little too bright, but I'm going to put it in the background. So that way it can shine in the background, but there's a lot of other things on top of it to, simmer it down a little bit. I also have one of those film strips from 49 and Market. Now this film strip happens to be a dud. It looks like it was put in their cutter wrong. And so it had a lot of mistakes in it, a lot of cuts and tears and things. And I went ahead and I tucked it behind and added lots of things on top so nobody will ever know that it was an whoops and I got a messed up film strip. So perfectly fine. Yay. I am happy to stack it on top of others. But I had to add a film strip because of the fact that, hello, we're talking about cameras. We have a movie reel, I don't think it's a movie, but I think it's a film reel, I think is what it's actually called. Lots and lots of other things that have to do with photography or pictures, whether they're motion pictures or still pictures, right? So of course I had to add a camera. I didn't want to go, or not a camera, but a film strip. I didn't want to go overboard. And I definitely did not want to add cameras because the photos are full of cameras. I didn't want to take the eye off of the cameras that are in the photo and have more cameras on the page. So the flowers were perfect. They were a perfect addition to, seeing the beauty that photographers see through their lens, and trying to capture that beauty forever, trying to, make it last forever by taking a photo of it. People always say, if you're going to stare that long, take a photo or something like that. I can't even remember what the saying is, but, or take a picture, it lasts longer than you just sitting there staring at me, things like that. And so anyways, just thought I'd throw that out there. And so it's just, it is kind of pretty. And I thought that these flowers were just absolutely the perfect touch for these photos because like I said, all I knew I was going to do a mixed media background, with these very neutral photos and had no idea what to do. And then the last item on my recipe was flowers. And I about panicked, because that's not me. But then I brought in, the Elena collection and they did all the work for me. I didn't really have to try very hard, to add flowers because, whoa, there's a bunch right there in clusters. And I do struggle with large clusteral flowers like the one in the on the left side page. And then I debated on whether or not to add butterflies, and I went ahead and did it anyways. I just stopped ho-humming around and thought, you know what, I am going to do butterflies because then it gives me that movement on the page. Now it looks like I've got a lot of movement. Forgot to glue my flower cluster down. Go me. And this actually will finish off all of the rub-ons that I have for the Elena collection. So I'm glad about that because if you don't keep that paper backing on their rub-ons, it's like a sticker, you guys. And so they stick to everything. And I did ruin one of them. I think it was just a butterfly. because it lost its backing and it stuck onto something. So I not only ruined the rub-on, but I also ruined what it was stuck onto as well. So I'm glad to finally use all this stuff up, but it's also my fault for not keeping some sort of packaging to keep the rub-ons in separate than just throwing them in a bin with all the other embellishments. All right, so lastly on my recipe, so I've done my ink blending, I've added my flowers, now I need to do my splatters. And like I said, I pulled out these, they're called Crafters Square Tempera spray paint. And it's not like spray paint, like psh, it's not that stuff. It is just a paint in a spray bottle. Now, I've actually not used it as a spray. I've only ever used it as splatters because it is such a thick consistency that I feel like the spray is going to get clogged way worse than mica spray ever does. And the splatters, oh, I cannot brag enough about the type of blobs these little bottles put down for splatters. Oh my gosh, they are amazing. And then of course I added a little bit of white splatter just to give it that little combination and add some white over to my right page because I felt like the left page was brighter due to that floral cluster than I did on the right page. So I definitely thought that that was a little bit, of a good contrast is to add some white splatters over on that right page. And I feel like it worked. All right, you guys, there are my close-ups. I had a blast putting this layout together. And I just definitely wanted to share with you guys my trials and errors. I really feel like that you guys need to see those because they don't always come together perfect, or, I don't always remember to do the steps in order. If there is an order, there's no right or wrong way to do scrapbooking, but there's no order to do scrapbooking either. And sometimes it's one of those things that I just get so excited to want to create that I tear things off and put it back on because I should have done it this way instead. And I like sharing that with you guys, just so that way it helps people out that think that, oh my gosh, I always am ripping my stuff up. It's okay. It really is. So anyways, be sure to check out everyone else that is playing along. Even though I have a lot of people listed, please remember that it is a holiday. And so some videos aren't made during the holidays. Some people can't keep up, and that's fine. I just don't want to take them off my list and then forget to put them back on. So I definitely want to keep everybody on the list, but just know that they may or may not have a video available throughout this month, in all honesty. So I know that there might be one that I can't do either because, wow, it's only so many days till Christmas. That's scary. All right, you guys, thank you so much, and I will check y'all later. Bye.